Good afternoon. This lunchtime. I hope you're enjoying your lunch if you're in our area of the world. And if you're joining from a different part of the world, good morning or good evening. We are here today with Sarah Clay because she's going to tell us all about how to boost your career on LinkedIn. And as you all know, I love LinkedIn. So, Sarah, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Samantha. It's great to be here, chatting to you across our little pond.
Yeah, and you're so colorful and happy and quirky.
Yeah.
It's lovely. It's lovely.
Well, you know what? It is. I'm in London, and it is pouring with rain, and it's been pouring with rain. I got very wet this morning when I came back from Pilates, and it's been like this all morning. And I've got to go out later, so we've got to be cheerful, haven't we?
Exactly. Well, you look great. Today, tell us a little bit about yourself first, because I know you've written a book and everything about this. So tell us a bit about yourself.
I've got it here. See, people say to me, "Is that a pretend background?" It's real. It's a real background with real things. So I
Employee
wrote
Advocacy on LinkedIn.
this is the book,
Mm.
and I was challenged to write a book, and I never thought I had a book in me. I never thought it would be something I would ever want to do, or what's the point, you know. And when somebody challenged me, I'm a bit competitive. So I thought, well, I'll write a book. Go on then, I'll do that. So my initial idea was to write a book for owner-managed businesses, how to use LinkedIn, which was the sort of, space that I was in at the time, a couple of years ago. And I was also working with companies. And I thought, why am I doing that? Because actually companies can benefit so much from LinkedIn, and they have no idea what they can achieve by using their employees to go out and build relationships on LinkedIn on behalf of themselves, but also on behalf of the company. And I thought, and then I sort of dug around a bit, and there were no books about
Mm.
it.
Mm.
No book. There's one book about employee advocacy that I could find. Oh no, there were two. There was one that I couldn't find it. It was there somewhere, but nobody could find it. I couldn't find the authors, and it was really old. And it wasn't called Employee Advocacy, it was something else. But so there's only one other book. So I thought, well, this needs writing. This book needs to be written
Yeah.
because this is so important.
Mm.
So I set to the task, and it was an incredible experience. It was hard, but it was brilliant, and I learned so much going through the process of writing it and organized myself and my process that I was working with my clients, and came out the other end, and I'm like, I am so proud of this. And people people who read it say it's I get some really good reviews from it. So
And were you always in the LinkedIn space, or tell us about how you ended up in this space?
So I was in the marketing and PR space, probably more PR actually. And then in the marketing space, I discovered this thing called social media, which nobody was using back then. We're going back a good few years. And in the minute I discovered Instagram, I discovered Twitter, as you were big on Twitter then. And I thought, hang on, this isn't, Facebook's one thing, but this is about business. This is about amplifying your brand message. And I was running the PR for a creative film company. And I said, guys, you've got to get on Instagram. And they were like, nah, we've got a website. We don't need Instagram. So that's how long ago it was. And then I was running the marketing for a local estate agent. I said, guys, you've got to get on Instagram. You've got to start using Facebook for business. Come on, get with it. And then I set up my own social media agency from that. And I was running accounts for people and doing some training. And then when lockdown hit, everybody was like, LinkedIn, LinkedIn, LinkedIn. So I was like, you're right, this is what we need. And that was when I just thought, if I'm going to do LinkedIn and train people how to do it properly, I need to really invest my time. So I abandoned all the other platforms and just focused on LinkedIn. So that was 2020.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I love LinkedIn as well. So if you're watching, please do comment, because we might feature your comment on the screen. And if you have any questions, of course, as well, please do feel free while we have Sarah here, while we have the expert in the room. So Sarah, boosting your career using LinkedIn. So tell me a little bit about why you wanted to talk about that topic.
I love the topic of boosting your career on LinkedIn because there's two ways to look at it. One is if you're looking to start out, if you're a student, you're at university, and I work in lots of universities in London, helping their students. Then the other side of that, of course, is if you've got a job and you're looking for a new job, which is a sort of recruiter side. But that's not really what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is how to boost the career that you're in already and use LinkedIn to amplify yourself in your job. So you're not looking for a new job. You're just looking to be better at the job that you've got. And that's where so many people don't realize LinkedIn has a place.
Absolutely. I'm always encouraging people to look at the team and their personal brands, and HubSpot do it really well, don't they? They have personal brands for the employees. So where do you start? Where do you start, Sarah, if people are watching?
Good question. So normally what happens is a company, it's usually the marketing department that will approach me, because employee advocacy is brilliant to help the marketing efforts of the company, and it just makes the marketing budget go so much further. So they will approach me, and what the first thing we will do is identify who in the organization is worth, it doesn't sound quite right, but who are the right people in the organization to be a part of the program? Because it is a program. It's not just a tick box, let's just do this, come in and train us for a day and go away, because that doesn't work.
No.
So it's taking it really seriously, looking at it as a long-term program. So identifying initially who are the right people to get involved, because you're going to get people in a company who don't want to do it, who really, really push back and go, I don't want this. It's not for me. So you don't want to drag people kicking and screaming to do something they don't want to do. Much better off identifying a small group within the company who are interested, maybe kind of a little bit keen, but they're more inquisitive, and who are good communicators.
And
so that's where we start.
I always say as well, there's always a rock star in the team. There's always someone who's either at nighttime he's doing wedding band, or he plays the guitar, or she, maybe she is a performer. Maybe she has loads of confidence. She's already doing acting in the local theater or whatever. So there's always going to be those people who are already confident and are already happy with video, for example, or being on video. Like, not everybody likes being on video. And I agree with you. There was one company I was working with once, and I remember one guy, he was the sales guy, and he really didn't want to do it, but he was so funny. And I thought, oh my God, I'd love to get him, really his personal brand. And it worked, and people loved it. And he got sales. He started getting more sales. He was the sales guy. So he was actually showing his personality, showing behind the scenes, making jokey things in his posts, but they were very tame. They were like things like, oh, I just traveled up to this many miles today. And he put a map of the route he took. And then he said, and the best coffee shop I found, by the way, was such and such, so it's that kind of thing. So it was really useful for other people in his audience,
Oh, it's great. I love that. And I've just been working with a company, and one of the guys, he's actually the MD of the company, and his LinkedIn posts are really funny, but quite a little bit sarcastic and kind of a bit unusual humor, a little bit edgy. And so I started working with them, and I said, that's brilliant. And he actually used to do stand-up. I didn't know this. That's what I found out about him. And I said, but this is great. I mean, look at how many followers you've got. Look at the engagement you're getting on your posts already. Let's build on that and make more of it. And he said, are you sure? Yeah, I'm not going to mess things up. I said, well, you haven't messed things up so far. So, let's
lines with the brand in some way, I mean, it's like you can have a personality as a brand as well. As we know, every brand can have a personality. But even if you're in a highly regulated business, let's say like finance or lawyers or something, something like that, you can still have the personal brand of the team can still be showing behind the scenes stuff. And you don't have to bring in humor if that's not your brand voice. But you make sure it's aligned with the brand anyway.
Absolutely. And what's great about getting different people as well in the organization. So yeah, you want somebody from the C-suite, because you've got to lead from the top with any different program change. So you definitely want at least one person from the C-suite. But you've got all these other people in the company who have got voices. You've got the intern, you've got the lady in HR and the man in marketing. You've got all these different people who have voices, who have different voices. Yes, they're still part of the company and they're the part on the brand of the company, but they'll see things from a different perspective and they will appeal to a different audience, each of them. So it's going to help the audience of the whole company grow hugely.
Yeah. And you mentioned something there. Like I think, like sometimes the brand, the person in the company can help the company be seen by more people, but also it's easier for people to reach out to them. Maybe if they were curious about the company, but maybe let's say they were switching phone service providers and you're a phone service sales guy or girl, right? So, it's easier for me to approach you if I'm saying, oh my God, that was so funny, that post you did. By the way, I do need to change my phone providers. Can you help me? Where do I go? Or, it just makes it easier for people to reach out.
Oh, it really does. Yeah. And if you're out there and about on LinkedIn, yeah, of course it does. Much easier. Yeah, no, and that's one of the many benefits of it. Yeah, for sure.
And they can become thought leaders themselves. So, like if you are in that industry and like that sales guy, let's say, he was actually able to give some sales tips to his, compatriots or whatever. He could actually give sales tips to his audience, but he was still talking about the company in the posts. So he can be talking about the company, or she can be talking about the company, and saying, oh, we did this today, and we're really passionate about this in our company, and I was really proud to be part of it, that kind of stuff. It's still promoting the company.
Absolutely it is. And even if they're not necessarily mentioning the company, they're still associated with the company. I mean, let's look at Richard Branson. Everybody immediately thinks Virgin.
Yeah.
But he doesn't necessarily talk about Virgin. He doesn't have to. He's himself, and he's talking about his dyslexia or whatever it is, but it's still, everybody sees him and thinks Virgin.
Yeah.
And that's what starts to happen. The more that you do this, the more that happens.
And how do you feel about, the way it looks on LinkedIn? Do you think, I don't know how you feel about this, but I always suggest having the same LinkedIn banner for every employee. How do you feel about that? Or do you think they can switch it up?
Oh, that's a really good question. So last week I was working with a really big company and we had this discussion, and it was a discussion. And at the end of the day, your personal profile is your personal profile. You can do what you like with it. But I always say that it's easier to take the company banner rather than thinking about what on earth you're going to put on your own. Why not just take the company one? And in fact, what was fascinating, this company I was with, they were brilliant. We had the discussion at the beginning of the day. It was a whole day training. And by lunchtime, the design team had designed 5 different banners. They were all on a theme, but they were all slightly different for everybody to choose from.
Nice.
And it was really nice because it gave everybody a little bit of autonomy, because they could choose their own banner. They weren't just being given one, but also they didn't have to use it if they didn't want to. Of course, everybody did, because it's easier.
It's easier. And you see, the main thing is your headline, isn't it? Is that stands out differently. So give me an example of a good headline, for example, for, let's say, the head of marketing at a company that does mobile phone service.
Oh, good one. Okay. So there are different approaches, obviously, but the easiest approach, and again, I don't want the people I'm working with to sit for hours and hours and hours, mulling over everything, because they'll never do anything.
Yeah.
So I always say, start with your title, because then it positions you, and then name the company. And it's not clever, not necessarily clever or funky or whatever it is, but it's Ronseal. I don't know if remember the Ronseal. It's just Ronseal. And because that first bit is the bit that goes with you everywhere you go on LinkedIn, head of marketing at company X.
Yeah.
It's easy. But then the next bit is where it gets a bit more interesting. So talk about how you help your clients. What do you do? And why are you so special as a company? You know, what is it that makes you better than another phone company? You know, are you cheaper? Are you more expensive? Do you give better customer service? Do you have a great range of phones? You know, and talk about what makes you so special, but also identify who your clients are. Because we can waste so much time faffing about on LinkedIn, talking to people who aren't ever going to buy from us. They're not going to help us. We're not going to help them. We're just not aligned. So by making it really, really clear, so I work with companies. So that's what I say. I help companies. So when an entrepreneur or an owner managed business person comes to me, I'll say, well, yeah, and I do, you know, I will work with all kinds of different people, but positioning who you are. So if you only work with women, for example, say that you only work with women, because then you won't get men wasting their time and yours saying, can I work with you?
Or if you only work with SMEs, put that in there. Or
Absolutely.
if, you know, what was it? Or if you work in financial services, you know, like you could
make it really
I
clear.
often say to people, I had a team once I had to do this with. I remember there was one guy and he was he a kite surfer, a snowboarder?
Okay.
And I was like, oh, you have to put that in your profile.
Yeah.
I said, you have to put that in your profile. I said, you can say your title and then you can say the company, but oh my gosh, please don't be afraid to be human and show, because you're going to attract other snowboarders. And guess what? Other snowboarders usually are CEOs or in the C-suite. Kite surfers, like it's an expensive hobby. So they are usually, I find, and I know from a kite surfing client I had before, actually, that a lot of the people that came to, actually, I think Richard Branson was one of them, used to come and kite surf. So there were always high level executives that were, this was their adrenaline rush or their thing to switch off, you know? You know, it's like I'm an angler and I find loads of people that are anglers are in usually quite boring jobs in the civil service or something like that they're not happy in, but they go fishing to kind of, you know, let that side out, you know. So it's interesting to put
It is. So I'm a cyclist. So I've got cyclist on mine and a little cycling icon. And I get people getting in touch with me saying, you're a cyclist and you do LinkedIn. I'd love to work with you.
There you go. You see, you're going to attract people who are like
lots of CEOs of cyclists. So I was working with somebody recently and she had rode the she sailed the ocean, you know, she'd sailed across the world. And she talked about that, mentioned that, but literally just a little couple of words at the end. And that's all you need to position yourself.
Yeah, I agree. And
definitely that personal. Yeah.
Like, I think people like kind of think, you know, sure, what would I have to say? What am I going to talk about that's going to make me stand out? Have you any suggestions there?
Oh, I know. I hear this all the time. And it's, so you meet people, and you were talking about the confident band person. And I was working recently with a company, and one of the guys he's a musician. And obviously on stage, I've never seen him on stage, but obviously on stage, he's up there and he's confident and everything. But then when I said, let's mention that in your profile, and then I don't know what to talk about. I will talk about your music. But why would I talk about my music on a work platform? And I said, well, you told me about it and we're in a work situation.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
And
interesting.
And my big thing, because I really try to help people demystify and get over those nerves and demystify LinkedIn as this weird, scary space. So I always say, what I want you to do is whenever you approach LinkedIn, whenever you're thinking about LinkedIn, whenever you're thinking whether to post, to change profile, to comment, just imagine that you're in a room with those people in real life. What would you say? So when you're reading a post and you're thinking, oh, I know I should comment on this, but I don't know what to say, just imagine that person is standing in front of you and they speak the words that are in the post. One of the things I say is, would you say this? And it's like, No, you wouldn't just do that. You wouldn't just stick your thumbs up and not say anything. You'd say something.
Yeah.
And I've actually created a structure to help people comment more, more easily. But it's getting over that initial fear. And I find that once you've helped with the mindset of what LinkedIn is, what it really is, then people get, they shake things off and they get a bit more confident.
Okay, then what is it? What is LinkedIn? What it really is? Tell us.
So it's not social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's networking.
Mm-hmm.
It's just talking to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say it's the biggest networking party in the world because it's huge. So think about every interaction on LinkedIn as you're at a networking event. And you want to be in the right room at this networking party because we can spend so much time hanging out in the kitchen with our mates where all the booze and the food is. We can spend an awful lot of time in a room with people that we don't really want to engage with. Be focused. Think about, who do I want to talk to? Those are the people. I'm going to go and talk to them.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all LinkedIn is. It's nothing complicated. It's just people talking to other people.
And I always say as well, like think about your target customer and who you want to attract. So, if I put up something like, oh, it's raining again and I've had such a crap week and blah, 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 that's not going to attract many. Like I have nice people collector on my Twitter, and I attract nice people because, I'm nice, right?
Yes,
and I'm kind and I do all these things. So I attract the same kind of people. I'm not going to attract trolls because they're going to go, oh, she's too wishy-washy and fluffy for me. So they're not going to bother with me, So it's really interesting. Here we have Sarah actually has a comment. Hi, Sarah. The best way of getting over it is doing it. You're so right. After 10 years of trying to help people over this threshold, think about it as if you're in front of the person. Absolutely.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I always say it's a valuable platform for building valuable relationships and being in the right room. Like when somebody comments on your post, like add value. I often find the higher up they are in the C-suite, like CMO or whatever, or CEO, or, CFO. If you want to attract those kind of people, what would add value to them today? What do these people love to do? They love to learn. They love to be entertained and empowered, and they love seeing other people empowering others because usually they're the same. They like to help others. They didn't get to where they are by not helping others.
Yeah.
So I always think about, okay, well, is this going to resonate with someone? Is this going to? I know that a lot of people as well around like my age would kind of be in those positions and above. But I find that a lot of them have kids, for example. So I put up a post about my daughter not wanting to have her photo taken when we went to Glendalough. I put a picture of me up in Glendalough on hill walking, but she didn't want to get her photo taken. I got so many messages from people saying, "Oh my God, I have a teenager and it's the same," and
Yeah.
So it's
they'll do it on their own. They'll go selfie central, but the minute
yeah, I know. But when think about what they would love, like you would stand in a corner shouting at how great your product is. No, probably not. You're so right, Sarah.
Exactly
You would
what I say. Would you go to a networking meeting and stand by the coffee machine and shout, "I do this, I do that"? No, you've got to get. Well done, Sarah. Good one.
Yes.
You go and talk to people.
She one of your connections or mine? I'm not sure. You see, when you do a live stream like this, folks, sometimes you can add your own channels as well when you're doing a live stream. So it's really, really powerful. You get other people from different audiences. This is why we collaborate. And this is why myself and Sarah are on this call, because, it's important to, even though we're not in the same space, but, we love marketing and we love the same kind of things. But there's always, like, some people might like to work with Sarah, or some people might like to work with me. So I'm all for collaborations, folks. So if you ever want to do one of these together, please reach out. I love doing these. I love hearing new ways of doing things as well. So Sarah, what have you noticed on LinkedIn? Like this year, have you noticed LinkedIn changing at all? Or is it okay? Have you seen any changes?
Huge change. huge changes. In June, they changed the algorithm, like everything just went, oh, I nearly swore then, sort of phrase of my mother's, which I won't. Everything went the wrong way around, everything moved, everything shifted, everybody's, and I say everybody because it was everybody's engagement went right down on their posts. And at the similar time, we saw analytics on our comments. So now we can see how much engagement we get on the comments that we put on other people's posts. So LinkedIn are shouting and screaming at us to stop posting so much and start going out and commenting on other people's posts and talking to people. That's what they want us to do. That's what they reward us for. And that's what makes the platform actually a much nicer space. So that's what we want to see. And interestingly, because when LinkedIn do make changes, sometimes they'll make a change and then they'll go, oh, we don't like that. And then they'll change it back again within 10 minutes. And it's really confusing. But this is staying. I'm pretty sure this is staying. I mean, it's, what is it? I'm looking at my calendar, November now, and it's still the same. And I gave a talk a couple of months ago to a whole load of finance people. And one of them afterwards put this post up and said, oh my gosh, this is incredible. His post impressions had gone down so ridiculously. But then he posted something. He'd spent ages crafting this post, put it out. It got a bit of interest. He then put 3, what he calls throwaway comments on other people's posts. And he got something like 30 times the impressions on those 3 comments as he did on the post.
So explain to people like impressions, right? So a lot of people might say, okay, I got loads of impressions, but like, is it going to get me sales? So can you answer that one?
Not directly, no, because LinkedIn is a long game. You're not, when people come to me and they say, oh, I need to work with you because I need to get 10 clients by next Friday. I'm like, nah, that's not going to work. Nah.
I know, or even in a month, I think it's like, well, I can do my best, but no, I can't guarantee that.
Can't guarantee any of that. No. But impressions is literally when a post has just gone through somebody's feed. They may not have seen it. They certainly may not have stopped and read it. And in fact, I think the phrase is wrong. I think it should be called reach, not impressions, because it is the reach. So it's how many people LinkedIn are putting your post in front of. Not quite grammatically correct, but you know what I mean. Yeah. So it's the reach of your post. How far are they getting pushed out? And it's important. It's a bit of a vanity metric, but it is important. The most important is your profile viewers. That's your most important metric.
Right. Okay, great. And for people then, for employees, like employee advocacy, like it might even be more powerful for them to comment, even if they don't feel like, if they're not able to post.
If they're not, So the first thing I get people to do who are in with the program is to start liking and commenting on the company page posts, because all they're doing is talking to their colleagues online. That's all they're doing. It's not, it isn't hard. The hard thing is getting over the whole thing about that it's a public space. But that's the first thing, because when you start engaging on the company page posts, other people will start to engage on those posts as well. Because, well, there's 2 reasons, obviously. Because also the algorithm then picks that up as activity on the post, and it will start pushing that post out to more people. But then I get employees saying, why should we do that? I don't get it. I don't get why we should talk to each other on a public space, in a public sphere. So that's the first reason. But the second reason is, as I always say, it's to get the dancing started. So when you go to a wedding or a party, nobody wants to start that dance. Nobody wants to get on the dance floor.
I will.
Well, actually, so will I, but not many of us.
Yeah.
So if you as the employees start commenting on the post, it's going to encourage others to do the same. And I promise you, I know it sounds a bit daft, it works. It absolutely works. Because then what people see is, first of all, they see you as a nice, cohesive, friendly company who are talking to each other and you're supporting each other and the company page.
Mm-hmm.
But also you're conversing, you're chatting. So then somebody can comment on your comment as an employee. They don't have to comment on the company page post. So let's say a post goes out about, I don't know, we had ice creams in, I don't want to talk about ice cream, so it's freezing cold in November. But anyway, you know, we had the ice cream van. Say the company page posted, we had the ice cream van came to the company today and we all had ice creams. That's nice, right? Let's say one of the employees then posts going, oh, I loved my raspberry ripple. You're really helping people engage on that comment as well as on the post, and you're just making it easier for people.
And do you think then, should they repost to their page as well, or to their personal page as well as I would encourage them to do their own post rather than repost. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. So I always say it's a matter of time, how much time you've got. But the best thing to do is like and comment on the company page post, and then take that post and don't hit repost, but make a fresh post.
Yes.
You can use pretty much the same text. You can tweak the text if you want to. You can use the same image, but it's a fresh post.
Yeah.
And that's your gold, or your platinum even. And I do talk about it in tiers. So tier 1, you've got 3 seconds, just hit like, done, go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tier 2, like and comment. Tier 3, hit repost. Tier 4, hit repost with a comment.
Mm-hmm.
Tier 5, your top line, the best thing you can do, like, comment, and then create that post again.
Yeah. And some will argue, well, I don't have time for that. And, you know, how do you deal with that objection?
Well, if you really haven't got time, as I say, do something lower down in the tier, you know, just hit the like, just hitting repost. It takes nothing. It's
you're getting in front, you're getting the company in front of your audience. And your audience could be from your former employer or employer that you had like years ago, depending on how long you are on LinkedIn. And actually with that client I was saying, the sales guy, he had so many connections. He had 10,000 connections. And I said, oh my God, we need to. So I said, right. I just he had no choice, the poor guy really. But then we created a LinkedIn newsletter from his profile, which was Tales of a Sales Guy in a Startup or something like that. I can't remember what the name was. But it was something about being a sales guy. So people that subscribed were obviously interested in sales tips. So it was good, you know. So he started, but he was talking about the company in every single newsletter. And like when there was a webinar coming up, stuff like that, he would put that in the newsletter. So it was really, I thought it was really, he converted 1,000 of those. So 10% of his followers into a newsletter. So LinkedIn newsletters, sometimes, definitely the CEO should have one, I think.
Yeah, LinkedIn newsletters are great, and you can have them from the company page, but you can have them from your personal profile, and that's where people are going to actually read it and subscribe it. Yeah.
And so what would be your top? So if anyone is watching today and they want to get their employees engaged more on LinkedIn, have you any tips? And I'll put your details of your website.
Obviously, they should read my book because it's all in there.
Obviously, there it is. I'll put it underneath. And then what would be the next steps? So if they wanted to do some kind of employee advocacy, do you do workshops or programs?
I do. My best workshops are in-person workshops. So I'll do a whole day or 2 half days, whatever. It depends where you are. I do online workshops, but in-person is so much better. It really is. The online ones also work, but it's keeping it going as well. So, you know, it's like going to the gym in January. You know, you pay your membership and you go. January the 2nd, you're there. January the 3rd, you're there. January the 5th, and then the 8th, and then the 12th. February, you're not going at all. So, so keeping the program going is you know, something that I do. I keep, you know, stay on as a consultant, and whatever touch you need. Some companies need a lighter touch. Some companies need a heavier touch. Helping them with content ideas, helping them with confidence. and growing the program as well. And what happens, what I love, is when you choose a small team at the beginning and you get them doing it really, really well, you get other people in the company going, can I have a go? Can I have a go?
Exactly.
Brilliant, isn't it? When people want to
Exactly.
get involved, because they get this FOMO. It's like, oh God, they've got loads more followers since they started doing this, and they've brought in a load of business as well. I want some of that.
And then maybe they were asked to speak at a conference on behalf of the company because of an event organizer was watching what they were doing. Because I've done that. I've actually asked people, like actually Andy Lambert from Adobe.
Oh yeah.
Like I asked him to speak at Social Media Fest because of the content he was putting up. So Adobe got the exposure from Andy speaking at our conference.
He's a good one. He's a great one.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to his conference on Wednesday, B2B session.
I know I wanted to go so badly, but I can't.
A little plug for Luann and Andy and B2B session.
Yeah, no, great event. Tell us more about that event.
Okay, so they did, it started off, it was an offshoot from Lucy Hall's Social Day, but she wanted to make it B2B focused. So she ran it the first year and then realized that she didn't have the bandwidth to continue to do it. So she handed it over to Andy Lambert and Luann Wise, who ran it last year for the first year that they ran it. And it's a brilliant conference. It's called B2B Social Day. So it's purely for B2B businesses. And the speakers are just amazing. And because it's so focused on B2B, the value right from start to finish is incredible. And it's a great venue in the centre of London on Wednesday this week. I think all the tickets have gone, but you never know. It's always worth having a little B2B social.
Do they have a virtual ticket? Do you know?
I don't think they do.
Because we have a virtual ticket for Social Media Fest, and it's powerful. Powerful it is.
I don't know that they have that actually. They may. I don't want to malign them and say they haven't.
Yeah, but definitely have a look out for that, folks. But in the meantime, Sarah's book, okay, Employee Advocacy on LinkedIn. Where can they buy it?
They can buy it on Amazon. They can buy it as a Kindle version or a real hardback or a softback. And interestingly, quite a lot of universities have bought sort of 4 or 5 hardback copies for their libraries, which is really nice.
Lovely.
Yeah, so that's where you can get it. It's really easy. It's not very expensive.
And if you want to get in touch with Sarah after this, we'll probably comment on this after this live stream. It's gone live to Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube all at the same time with Restream. And sarahclaysocial.com if you want to get in touch with Sarah.
Brilliant. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining. And thanks, Sarah, the other Sarah, for her little comments there as LinkedIn. Thank you very much. We love when the audience engages. If we see more comments later, we'll comment back.